Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon. It is a pleasure and honor to welcome you at the third Islamabad Security Dialogue and its Session 1 Commanders Forum, The Changing Nature of War. I, Kuratulan, Senior Research Associate, represent the Institute for Strategic Studies, Research and Analysis, ISRA, National Defense University, which is a member of the National Security Division Advisory Board. ISRA has had the privilege to have played a pivotal role in the conception and organization of the Islamabad Security Dialogue since 2021. I will take a minute to introduce ISRA, which is a distinguished think tank that primarily focuses on national security. The research, analysis, and policy inputs on current regional and global developments by ISRA are widely recognized both domestically and internationally. ISRA's flagship annual events serve as a catalyst in bringing together a diverse group of policy and opinion makers as well as relevant stakeholders on one platform with the goal to foster collaboration and build bridges. Ladies and gentlemen, our interaction with other national and international research organizations and think tanks through seminars, conferences, and workshops serve as a crucial aspect of Pakistan's dialogue with the global community. Moreover, ISRA publishes several journals of international repute, including the Strategic Thought, the Margla Papers, ISRA Papers, and NDU Journal. Ladies and gentlemen, in this session, the discussion will focus how the end of Cold War has resulted in a shift in military thinking. With the prospects of large-scale war between major powers diminished as a consequence of unipolarity, globalization, and increased connectivity, the focus of militaries has geared towards strengthening deterrence through force multipliers and fighting smarter, quicker wars with a focus on counter-insurgency. The wars of Afghanistan and Iraq in the first decade of the 21st century, and more recently the Ukraine war, have proven notions of quick victory as misplaced. Advancements in the artificial intelligence, advanced microchips, cyber autonomous weapons, and other emerging technologies have added new dimensions to war fighting. Ladies and gentlemen, the discussion in the Commanders Forum is an attempt to understand the changing nature of war amidst great power competition and emerging technology. What would the future battlefield look like in the backdrop of Ukraine war? Will there be a renewed push towards expanding defense industrial complex and indigenization of arms industry for future wars? How have contemporary conflict impacted our understanding of escalation ladder involving nuclear weapon states and non-nuclear weapon states? The session will also discuss military diplomacy. The participants will deliberate how disruptive technologies are impacted military doctrines and how new confidence-building measures can induce much-needed predictability at the doctrinal level. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly note that no pictures are allowed during this session, and please switch off your mobile phones. Before I hand over to Mr. Hassan Akbar to moderate the session, I invite Mr. Amir Hassan, Secretary National Security Division, for his opening remarks. Over to you, sir.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Khurram Dastagir Khan here, Federal Minister for Power. He has also been former Defense Minister and Minister for Foreign Affairs. We welcome you, sir. Members of the armed forces, foreign dignitaries, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. It gives me great pleasure to introduce the Commanders Forum of the Islamabad Security Dialogue. This is a new addition to the dialogue where we endeavor to host military commanders from various countries to share their perspectives on trends in warfare, the impact of technology on conflicts, and the challenges and opportunities for military diplomacy and cooperation for peace and stability. This year's theme for the Commanders Forum is Changing Nature of War, to reflect the immense challenges being witnessed in how warfare is conducted and its impact on countries. Ladies and gentlemen, this keynote address for today's session was to be delivered by the Chairman Joint Chiefs of Staff Committee, but just a few minutes ago, we have been informed that he's not coming due to some pressing engagements. But we have with us messages from the senior military officials of China and Indonesia. From China, Major General Li Songlan, People's Liberation Army Academy of Military Sciences, and from Indonesia, Admiral Yudo Marogno, Commander, National Armed Forces. I hope this would be of great interest to you. Thank you very much.
I would now like to introduce Major General Ni Songlai of the People's Liberation Army Academy of Military Sciences for his statement on the changing nature of war.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to participate in the third Islamabad Security Dialogue via video. I'm Major General Nie Songlai from the War Studies Institute of the Academy of Military Sciences, PLA, People's Republic of China. In accordance with the arrangements of the meeting, I would like to make a few observations on the changing nature of war. War is a product of the times. The present era is undergoing profound changes unseen in the century, and the international strategic landscape is seeing profound adjustments. Changes in the world, changes in science and technology, and changes in history are developing in an unprecedented way. Factors of peace are in the growth. Peace and development are still the main trend of the times. It is the common pursuit of most countries to promote peace, development, and win-win cooperation. At the same time, the factors of war are also on the rise. The competition between major powers is intensifying, and the Cold War mentality and bloc politics are returning. Traditional and non-traditional security threats are intertwined and overlapping. Deficits in peace, development, security, and governance are getting worse. Hegemonism and power politics remain the main causes of contemporary wars. The nature of war is the comprehensive embodiment of both characteristics and essence of war. The changes in the nature of war are mainly manifested in the following aspects. First is the changing form of war. Modern technologies such as big data, cloud computing, artificial intelligence are profoundly changing the form of war, accelerating the development of war form from mechanization and informationization to intelligentization. Second is the changing paradigm of war. Modern war is hybrid and total, carried out simultaneously in political, economic, diplomatic, military, and cognitive domains, as well as in multiple dimensions. Its main characteristics include system versus system confrontation, all-domain competition, and hybrid gaming. Third is the changing way of operations. The evolution of war form and war paradigm has given birth to new ways of operations, such as long-range precision operations, unmanned swarm warfare, cognitive offense and defense, joint all-domain command and control, cyber warfare, distributed U-boat-style operations, etc. Fourth is the changing impact of war. In the era of globalization, war is becoming increasingly interconnected and transnational, with more spillover effects. Local wars may have global repercussions. While observing the changes in the nature of war, we need also notice what has not changed. War is still the continuation of politics by other means, and the changes in the characteristics of war will not change its political objectives. War is still full of uncertainties, and the fog and the friction of war will not be completely removed by advances in military technologies. Finally, the fundamental factor determining the outcome of war is still human beings. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chinese nation is peace-loving, which is its historical and cultural tradition. More than 2,500 years ago, the Chinese military thinker Sun Tzu pointed out, quote, "War is of vital importance to the state. It's a matter of life and death, a road to safety or ruin. Therefore, it is a subject of inquiry that can on no account be neglected." Quote over. The fundamental purpose of studying war is to contain and eliminate it. I would like to share with you some personal reflections for a peaceful world. First, we should build a human community with a shared future. The three initiatives put forward by Chinese President Xi Jinping, namely the Global Development Initiative, the Global Security Initiative, and the Global Civilization Initiative, are signposts to a peaceful world. We may join hands to embrace the concept of common, comprehensive, cooperative, and sustainable security, and reach balanced, effective, and sustainable global and regional security. Second, we should develop a new architecture of common security. All countries should adhere to the concept of global governance for shared benefits through extensive consultations and joint contributions. We need to try every means to maintain global strategic stability while opposing arms race. It is strongly required to enhance strategic communication, deepen mutual trust, promote practical cooperation, resolve disputes and differences through dialogues and consultations, and make joint efforts to address global security challenges. Third, we should oppose hegemonic blocs, Cold War mentality, zero-sum gaming, ideological confrontation, and exclusive camps need to be rejected. Dangerous factors such as hegemonism, power politics, and unilateralism that may push the world into division and war are to be opposed. That's the end of my speech. Thank you.
Thank you for that excellent statement from Major General Ni Song Lai, highlighting how conflict is changing with introduction of new technologies, the role of force multipliers, and also highlighting, I think very importantly, how conflict has not changed, how its basic principles remain the same. Now I would like to welcome Admiral Yudo Margono, the Commander of the National Armed Forces of Indonesia, for his statement for the dialogue.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable Head of the National Security Division of Pakistan Government, the distinguished colleagues of the Chief of Defense Force. I am Admiral Yudo Margono, the Chief of the Indonesian Defense Force. First of all, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to the National Security Division of the Pakistan Government for inviting me to deliver a brief speech in this Commander's Forum session. It is an honor for me to be a part of the 3rd Islamabad Security Dialogue. Dear Forum participants, on 14 of February 2022, Russia openly launched military operation in the Ukraine. Before the invasion, most military experts believe that the change of conventional war between the two state actors was very unlikely. Experts believe that proxy wars involving not state actors will more dominate war in the future. Such theory proves inaccurate. Open war involving state actors can still happen in the end. Many countries immediately changed the course of their defense policy by increasing the defense budget to strengthen their military kinetic strength. The Russian-Ukraine war teaches us constantly both kinetic force and also simultaneously strengthen non-kinetic ability. Kinetic power is needed and anticipate conventional wars as well as deterrence power for a country. On the other side, a non-kinetic force is required to anticipate a complex spectrum of threat. In kinetic strength development, in my point of view, three things must prioritize: combat readiness, future force, and people. The first priority for multiple change remain combat readiness. Military personnel and military men, equipment and weapon system found in the country should always be ready at any time to face an enemy attack. Keeping combat readiness and the highest level require continuous training of soldiers with various possible scenarios. In addition, the readiness of military equipment should also be considered in the planned and transparent logistic system. The second priority is to build a future force that can answer the challenge of military technology development. Future kinetic weapon system must be integrated into the integrated data network system and able to accommodate artificial intelligence technology. Additionally, the interoperability of the current and future force of multiple armies should be considered in plan and procurement so that they can still support each other. The third priority is the people, the warriors. Even though automation and artificial intelligence technology have been advanced, the role of human cannot be taken away. Knowledge and warfare and soldiers should still be priorities in the kinetic development of armed force. Dear Forum participants, In the development of non-kinetic strengths, there are three things that should be considered for the armed force, namely adaptation, collaboration, and education. More adaptation to how internally armed force with its strengths, while collaboration and education and the external effort of armed force. First priority, the armed force must continue to adapt to the development of science and technology. Non-kinetic threats evolve quickly, so armed force must be able to follow such rhythm through independent research and procurement of the latest non-kinetic military base and equipment. The second priority is collaboration. Non-kinetic threats and threaten an aspect of state life, not only military, but can strengthen political, economic, health, social, and cultural aspect. We have seen how one country can intervene in the election result and another country without any maneuver of kinetic force. We also saw how cyber threat can disturb the country's economy. Also, we witnessed how an invisible virus can destroy the World Health System, and we all watched how the culture of country and influence the world's population. For that, the armed force must be able to collaborate with other stakeholders to deal with a variety of threat spectrum. Armed force must be able to communicate and convince decision makers in the ministry that all aspects of the state are very vital in supporting national security. Hopefully, with good communication, the stakeholder will make the right and harmonious decision with the building of military power. The third priority and the non-kinetic strength development is education. Every citizen should be involved in the effort to determine non-kinetic threat through education. All citizens should have a high devotion for their country. The spirit of love for this country must be furnished to repeat education through formal and informal education. Besides devotion for the country, every citizen should be involved through active effort in defending the country. There are many aspects that every citizen has that could play a role in maintaining national security. In the cyberspace, citizens can be involved in the early detection of the threat. Additionally, expertise in the medical, chemical, biological, and nuclear field can be used to help the interests of the national security. Dear Antagonistes, experience is the best teacher. What happened to the Russian-Ukraine conflict should be a lesson for all of us to the integrated and build both kinetic force and not kinetic force. We need both the ready to face increasingly diverse and more difficult nature of warfare. As a military personnel, I believe in the motto, Si vis pacem parabellum, if you want peace, prepare for war. That is all, and thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Once again, we'd like to thank Admiral Yudo Maragono for his excellent speech, highlighting, I think, some very important aspects of non-kinetic warfare, which are becoming increasingly important. Pakistan's first national security policy also recognizes the threats that cybersecurity, force multipliers, and other elements such as strategic communications, for example, and the important role that they're increasingly playing in emerging conflicts, and tries to incorporate them in Pakistan's future national security framework. Ladies and gentlemen, we will have an early break. Our next section begins at 2. Lunch is prepared for our guests. We hope that you can join us for lunch. The next session will be focusing on economic statecraft. We have with us the Minister of State for Finance, Aisha Ghaus Pasha. We have the country director for the World Bank who will be joining us. We have excellent panelists online as well, which will be followed by a keynote address on climate by the Federal Minister for Climate Change, Ms. Sherry Rahman, and then a session on climate with some of the best, most renowned experts on climate change, which is an existential threat and shared challenge for all of us, which will be our last session for today. So I hope that all of you can continue to join us post-lunch, and we look forward to continuing our discussions. Thank you very much.